So I'll just start off by how I started. I started by Naina. I didn't start by Naina in 2016, but I started drawing and working on digital illustrations in 2014 when I was in college. So I had asked for a birthday gift. I asked for a tablet for my birthday gift. So because I used to try to draw on Photoshop with my mouse, but it
Okay.
was a little wonky. The lines would be wonky and it would not be nice. And then I didn't know that people were using tablets. So when I did find out that people were using tablets to make these beautiful illustrations, I requested my family to give that to me for my birthday. And I did get it and I dove right into it. I was just making fashion illustrations. I was drawing people. I was working on vector art on Photoshop. And so I was making these illustrations and I was putting it on my Instagram and shamelessly tagging people that are relevant to it. And it was right around that time that Lakme Fashion Week was happening. And I just made this very spontaneous decision to recreate these looks on illustration format and put it up on my Instagram page. And I put it
Okay.
up, tagged Lakme, I tagged Lakme Fashion Week, I tagged all the designers that I was recreating the outfits from. And within 2-3 days, I'm gonna say, people started reaching out to me. So I got offers from magazines to help them create illustration. Not all of them worked, but I just started getting inquiries into my work, and I think that was the start of me creating more and more work. And eventually in 2017 is when I created By Naina, is where I'm at right now. And yeah, it just started growing. So my work is very focused on South Asia, very focused and very inspired by Hindi cinema, the culture of South Asia, and the colors of South Asia. And I think slowly I'm starting to build a color palette that I like working with, and also trying to explore more and more things.
What was the inspiration of your first illustration?
I'm trying to think which one was my first illustration. I think it was Mindy Kaling. I did this vector art of Mindy Kaling. And Mindy Kaling has been such a big inspiration for me. It's just how she carries herself out with so much confidence, and how she,
Right.
I think, South Asian women. Um,
Yeah.
and she doesn't sway away from being herself and being true to her
Yeah. Identity.
identity. So
Yeah.
Mindy was my first.
Mindy Kaling. Wow. It's crazy how like women get really inspired by women. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not like that we are not looking at achievers of other genders, but I think women on women inspiration, just there's some magic to it.
Yeah, and I guess because I don't you don't see a lot of women's names on leadership roles yet, and as
Yes,
much,
yeah.
so whenever there is someone that is there, they become your source of inspiration immediately. And also, like an, I guess, idea that, don't stop, push until, because you can get there too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's something nice that even I feel when I see like really well accomplished women. I just feel that, oh my God, there's some hope out there.
Yeah. There.
So, for all you guys who don't know, this is Naina's side hustle, and Naina's a student of economics, studied it in Atlanta, worked in New York City, which is dream for a lot of girls. How was that?
So I've been quite lucky, I would say, and I've had a supportive family and a supportive group of friends who've always pushed me to just keep on doing what I'm doing and not to settle for less. So after studying economics, I didn't want to really get into the economics side of things. when it came to doing my job, I always knew that I wanted to get into advertising or marketing. So
Okay.
applying for jobs in my last semester of college, I applied to all kinds of advertising jobs. And then luckily, I didn't land a job straight out of college, but I did land an internship and I didn't want to let it go. So I fought with my family and I was like, you have to let me go to New York. And they did. And when I went to New York, I worked in data science.
Okay.
And that was really because I like juggling with data and I like analyzing data. So that was fun.
Right.
And seeing how that's being used in the creative side. And now it's still, to understand the business side of the creative field. Building your target audience, how to find your target audience and all that. And then after that, I worked in media planning for the US Corps, also under an advertising agency. And then after that, I worked in influencer marketing for Home Depot. And all so different from each other. And like when you look at it as a whole, you're probably thinking like, what am I doing with my life? And what do you want to do at the end? Honestly, I just wanted to try out to see what I really like. And because I had that liberty and that freedom to do so, and I wanted to take advantage of that. And I feel like when you're straight out of college, you have kind of, because you're young and because you the ability to kind of play around with your options until you settle. So I think my advice would be that don't settle for something because society expects you to do so, or your friends are already settled and doing something that they doing for the rest of their life. Like don't follow other people's timelines. Just go with the flow and do what you love. I think is
do what you love.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I think there's tremendous growth in that as well. When you're just following your heart, that's when like the real growth comes across, and you don't feel work is work. Do you believe that an artist must have a style of his own? How much time did you take to discover your own style in illustration?
I think I have my own style yet, and I think that's okay. But I do know that that's something I need to keep in my radar, and I do know that's something I want to build for myself, whether that is building a color palette that I'm always using or a style that I'm only working with, But at this point, I'm enjoying experimenting and I'm enjoying exploring the different kinds of styles there are, and trying to find my unique voice in this very saturated platform that is Instagram. I'm still in the beginning process of things, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. But I guess drawing inspiration from people and picking some things up and then implementing that in your own work will help you build your own style.
I'm gonna go ahead with delving a little deeper into your side hustle as an artist. So you said like you launched your Instagram account, and within 2 to 4 days you were approached by Harper's, and since then on it's been a side hustle, but it's I think when we saw your account, we felt this was something you're doing full time, and it's very interesting. Like I always feel a lot of artists who decide to be like full-time artists, and somewhere financially, at what point do you feel financially that makes sense?
I would say that start off, if you want to be an illustrator or if you want to be an artist, I would say, because I'm a very practical person, so that's how I think, and that's how others may not think, and that's fine. But how I think of it is that I need to be making enough to support myself, support my family if they're dependent on me. And so having that in the back of your head when you decide to pursue this as your full-time career or full-time job. For me, I still do this as a side hustle, and I don't see myself doing this as a full-time venture in anytime soon. And I'm happy with that decision, and I think I like it that way at this moment. But I know that if I pursue this as my full-time job, I know that can't feed me on a day-to-day basis, and that's fine. I like doing this, like I said, on the side. I enjoy that. Because sometimes when you're doing this job full time, any job, you can start to dislike it. And art is something I really enjoy, so it's not something I want to start disliking. So I want to keep this on the side, and even if that means I'm taking less and less work, I'm
Right.
happy with that. But
Okay.
it's important to think of it practically before you jump in and decide that, okay, no, I want to be an artist. But yes, but there's so much really great work and really well-paid jobs in graphic design, in illustration. So if you land one of those, and why not go ahead and do that?
Right. Art is used for therapy also. And a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurial friends I have are turning to art to, sort of process their thoughts. Does that, what do you have to say to that?
I think I've used art as therapy before. And then during this pandemic, during life in lockdown and quarantine, I think art has been really helpful to help me cope up with just the unpredictability of this world and the chaos that the world is right now. And I think people should draw. There's no right and wrong in art, and it's like how when you cook, there's no right and wrong. It's art, so do what you want. And I think just putting your thoughts out and expressing yourself through art could be a great pathway to just let your emotions out. Sometimes,
So, for like a new age artist who wants to get into this full time, what are the top 3 things which you would recommend that person needs?
I would say, if you want to pursue this one day as even a side hustle, I would say that, put your work out there. Maybe you won't do well in the beginning. Maybe people won't be following your work at the beginning, and that's fine. But once you start putting more and more work out there, people will notice, because your work is out there for the world to see, and eventually people will notice. And so put your work out there, dive in right into it, not necessarily as a job per se, just as something as a passion project, and put your work on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, on Behance, which is a portfolio website. Just put your work out there. So that's number 1. And then number 2, I think people don't use hashtags enough nowadays, or relevant hashtags. So use hashtags, find out which hashtags work for your work specifically, and just keep on using those, because that will help you attract the right audience to your work, the right engaged audience. Because sometimes using irrelevant hashtags, attracts people who are trying to sell you bitcoins.
Yeah,
So
that's a problem. Yeah.
use relevant hashtags. And number 3 would be just practice. Keep on practicing, exploring what you like, and maybe it's going to be very different from what you tried the first time, and maybe you end up at a different kind of art form at the end of it. You don't know where your work is going to take you, so experiment, I think is key.
How do you plan to now take this side hustle forward? And, how are you going to make your side hustle grow while you're, doing your full-time work?
Yeah. So I've always collected stationery from when I was young, and it's always been a dream kind of um, to build a stationery brand. So I want to create my own merchandise with my artwork on it, whether that is creating journals, whether that's creating notebooks, um, stickers, and planners. I want to do that eventually. Hopefully soon. I've been contacting suppliers, so figuring that out, and also having to figure out the logistics, because I have to plan out whether I want to do this in Bangladesh only, or I want to do this, as a worldwide thing. So I have to figure all that out, but that's something I want to do with my artwork moving forward, creating a stationery brand.
I think your entire journey till now has been so diverse, and it's really inspiring to see women, experiment with their careers, considering that we've been given a timeline for everything. There are few of us who just want to who live life freely. It's that's how it should be, but it's the bold thing to do.
Yeah, I think everyone should experiment, even if that's something you're doing on your own time and not putting it out in the world. Just have fun. I think is what should be key. Having fun with what you're doing. And it's easier to say, to not maintain and follow the timeline that you've been given. I think not everyone. I think it's a privilege that's very few have, and it's unfortunately it's a privilege, but it shouldn't be. It should be, everyone should have the liberty and freedom to do whatever they want, and you should try at least using
yeah of what worth is life if you don't Why South Asian women, Naina?
South Asian women, that was a very conscious decision I made, because I don't see a lot of representation of us in the world.
Right.
And I want to do my part to kind of put that out, put our work out and our people out, because I don't think there is enough representation. There are so many people and so many inspiring people, so I choose to work with those kinds of brands, and I choose to draw those people because they are inspiring to me, and where they're at today, I would like to be there one day. I do South Asian women, I do South Asian people for a reason, because I don't think we have enough representation in this world.
That is so true. I completely agree with you. And even I feel somewhere, because of the societal standards of beauty and how women should look, just a certain kind of art is promoted.
Kind of impossible beauty standards have been imposed on women for so long, and I think the media has such a huge part to play on that.